What's good, Oh, I'm on mute. Oh no, I'm not. What's good, everybody? Welcome to the trade recap for today. Today is Wednesday, August 13th. Friday the 13th. Wednesday the 13th. Anyways, I took one trade today. It was a dub. It's right here on my screen. We'll go over that along with the price action from this morning. So let's start in the morning. All right, let's go all the way over to 940. All right, so market opens, we have all this trend line below us, right? But we're at all-time highs, so we don't want to short. So what I'm looking for is for price to open, manipulate lower, possibly into this 15-minute gap right here, along with these high time frame PD rays as well, right? We had an hourly right here, and we also had a, well, this 4-hour wasn't open yet because the 6 a.m. candle was still fluctuating, right? So we had this hourly below us, and then that 15 minutes. So what I wanted to see as market opened, we had a nice accumulation zone. I wanted to see it manipulate lower into this gap right here. However, right before market opened, we ended up shooting all the way up. And then what did we get after that? Well, we had a 15-minute for value gap. So if I wanted to take longs, we could have waited for that to get tapped and then go from there. However, we had all this LRL and accumulation zone lows below. So if I did want to take longs, I would want to see we sweep that out first and then go up. So that's why this 15-minute for value gap was invalid. Let's see what price ended up doing. And we ended up running through it anyway. Now, we ended up creating equal lows right here on the 15-minute. Actually, I think this might have been hourly equal lows. Yeah, it was. It was to this hourly for value gap. So we didn't even tap into this hourly for value gap yet. Oh my God. And we had a nice model, right? Because we came down, we took out all this LRL right here. Now, if we would have tapped into this and then inverted this, I believe it was a 2-minute, right? This pink line is an hourly for value gap, by the way. If we would have tapped into this and inverse this 2-minute for value gap, then we could have went and targeted either this unfilled 5-minute right here. And I believe there was a 15-minute as well. Yeah, in the same exact spot. So we could have had a mech model towards the unfilled for value gap, which is this green line. Get rid of that because that's no longer valid. But what did we have below us? Well, we have equal lows. And what do we know about equal lows? It's a high draw on liquidity. So we don't want to enter if we have equal lows or highs above or below us. And that's exactly what we had. What did price end up doing? Well, price ended up inversing this 2-minute. So, okay, cool. I went ahead and I forward tested this trade. Did not enter because we had equal lows below us. Target at the unfilled 15-minute gap. And then what ends up happening? Well, our stop loss would have been absolutely fucked, right? Because we had the equal lows below us. So that's why that trade was invalid. And what do we end up doing from here? Here, let's go to the 15-minute. We ended up trending all the way down towards London lows. And what did we leave? Well, we still have this unfilled 15-minute up here. We have this unfilled 15-minute right here. We have just a plethora of unfilled 15-minute for value gaps, right? But again, still didn't like this trade. Why? Well, because first of all, look at this leg down, right? We have a nice AMD model, right? We have an accumulation zone. We manipulated into London lows, actually creating a London low SMT. Here is what ES looked like. ES was nowhere near London lows, right? London lows is all the way down here at this red line. So we had a nice AMD model. Here's your accumulation zone, this general area. And then we manipulated lower into it. But again, I didn't like this trade because if we inverse this gap all the way the fuck up here, well, that gives us like negative RR on the trade, and I'm not taking that. On top of that, it also took a million fucking candles to invert that, right? So hands off, still being very patient. We come down, we get a resweep, so that's actually what I was looking for. But what do we end up doing? Didn't inverse anything. Honestly, if we got this resweep and inverse this, I probably would have entered. So it's a good thing I just stayed patient and we didn't enter it. But we ended up coming down, taking out Asian lows as well. So now we have an Asian SMT along with a London SMT, right? Here's the red and blue lines right here. ES is nowhere near that shit, right? And on top of that, we're severely oversold anyway. Yeah, we're at all-time highs, but we just dumped 150 points with 0 retracements. So we continue coming down. What else is below us? Well, we have this unfilled 4-hour fair value gap below us. Okay, so I'm like, all right, if price comes and taps into this unfilled 4-hour fair value gap, then maybe we can see something, right? And again, what is above us? Well, now we have this unfilled 5-minute along with this unfilled 5-minute. And on top of all that, a plethora of the unfilled 50 minutes above us, and then also EQ with the range. So there's valid draws on liquidity above us. So now what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for price to come into this 4-hour fair value gap, along with holding these London and Asian SMTs. What do we do on the leg down? Well, we create a 1-minute bearish fair value gap, and then what ends up happening? We end up running that fair value gap. I go ahead and enter off the inversion. What am I targeting? I'm targeting on my XFAs. I took profits at this first unfilled 5-minute for a 111 RR, and that was all I needed on my XFAs. And then on my evals, I held it all the way to this second unfilled gap. And what ended up happening? Well, they both got absolutely dominated. So W day, I actually wasn't even looking to trade today due to the fact that we were at all-time highs and we didn't manipulate lower at market open to begin with. But I ended up staying patient. This trade took place at 11:19. I ended up entering. So I was pretty patient today. I was actually pretty proud of myself. I didn't enter off the 2-minute and I didn't force anything. Especially in these markets, you don't want to force anything. You want to wait till the setup happens. So that being said, that'll be all. I made about $700 per account today. So whatever that math is. So pretty solid day overall. New beginner's blueprint coming out at 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific, and then a psychology video coming out at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So stay tuned for those. I will leave the links in the Discord. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want, leave a like. Don't really care. Go follow me on Instagram. All that shit. All right.